While we're all getting set up here, I just want you to look at your neighbor and say, neighbor,
there's not much space.
you look marvelous. Turn to your other neighbor and say, you look hot. You all look hot too, press. We're impressed that the press is here on the roof with us in this beautiful home of the Sisters of the Holy Family. Are we ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Welcome and good morning, New Orleans.
Good morning.
Today, Together New Orleans and the entire city of New Orleans have a taste and see moment. We get to taste and see what the future can look like and does look like. We are here to celebrate a new workforce development partnership to train and hire local residents as part of Together New Orleans Community Lighthouse initiative. We are gathered here at the home of the Sisters of the Holy Family and St. Mary's Academy, the location of Together New Orleans 15th Community Lighthouse. Community Lighthouse is about resiliency in our neighborhoods and about job and workforce development. When disasters strike and the power lines go down, the Community Lighthouse powers up with solar energy and battery backup power. Community lighthouses are locations throughout our city and growing throughout our state for residents to come to when they lose power so they can cool off, connect, get some assistance, and the essentials that we all need, like air conditioning. Amen. Community Lighthouse Initiative is a new and more resilient way of responding to our natural disasters, and a new way for faith-based communities, city government, union workforce, and workforce development programs to join together to create a new future for our city. Today, we want to especially celebrate the new workforce development program that is happening through multiple partnerships, and we want to hear from those partners right now. We begin with Ryan Mattingly, the Chief Executive Officer of Green Corps. Oh, I'm so sorry. How could I forget Sister Alicia? We begin with Sister Alicia, who lives right here.
Good morning, New Orleans.
Good morning.
And welcome to our abode. My name is Sister Alicia. I'm the congregational leader of the Sisters of the Holy Family, which was founded in New Orleans in 1842, nearly 182 years ago, by Venerable Henriette DeLille during a time of political unrest and slavery. We are living in a time now when our environment is in jeopardy more than ever before, and our city particularly is continually threatened by hurricanes and now even tornadoes and drought. In 2022, I saw a story on the morning news about a meeting being held by Together New Orleans at Household of Faith near us, which was planning to launch the Community Lighthouse project. For us, this was a sign and gift from God to act and to join in their effort to help save lives, especially during those catastrophic weather occurrences. Initially, there were no openings for more lighthouses, but we informed TNO we had property, and we made a significant monetary donation to the project. We were contacted by Broderick Baggard, director of TNO, who introduced us to a different type of project. Thus, the birth of the vision of a community solar project began. In the distance, where we're in the way right now, you can see the 22-acre lot on which we hope to construct a community solar farm in New Orleans East. We have been working diligently to make this vision a reality, with a thumbs up from Pope Francis. In the meantime, an opportunity opened for us to participate in the Community Lighthouse project. We are so excited to begin this new venture. Hurricane season is upon us, and the sisters are praying that our city will be spared from harm. However, if we are affected, we hope to be prepared when and if it happens to care for our elderly sisters and to be able to feed those who come to our kitchen door. We view our venture, our encounter with Together New Orleans as a blessing. and a sign from God to venture into a new way of ministering. I think this is the best decision we could have ever made. Thank you to our friends of TNO and the City Council for opening your hearts to helping the Sisters of the Holy Family help our city in more ways than one. God bless and welcome again.
Thank you, sister. We now want to hear from Ryan Mattingly, the Executive Director of the dynamic Louisiana Green Corps.
Thank you very much, Pastor Shawn. The best way to learn about Green Corps is to hear about it from our students. So I'm grateful in a moment that you'll get a chance to hear from Green Corps alumni and now current lead installer at Solar Alternatives, Trayvon, and current student Jaden Davis. Our students know that construction and green infrastructure careers are their calling, but they often don't have the training, experience, or certifications to get their foot in the door. For the past 16 years, Louisiana Green Corps has carefully designed our program to meet those shifting needs of our students. We remove barriers to ensure New Orleans residents attain paid training opportunities, wraparound support services, and employment. 100% of our students graduate with at least one professional certification debt-free, and 91% of our students are placed into employment and/or post-secondary education. Green industries such as solar offer high-wage occupations with lifetime career potential. However, in Louisiana, green industries currently employ 6 times as many white people as people of color. This disparity contributes to our staggering racial wealth gap in New Orleans. We know that green construction not only addresses the damaging effects of climate change, it also presents an incredible opportunity to drive real racial equity within our city. Our state is on the cusp of a green jobs revolution. For solar jobs, for example, are increasing by 10% annually, with Louisiana in line to receive millions of federal job funding over the coming years. Workers entering green careers can expect their jobs to thrive in the coming decades. Furthermore, nearly 70% of solar industry jobs do not require an advanced degree, but can be obtained through rapid technical and on-the-job paid training that Louisiana Green Corps offers in partnership with Solar Alternatives, IBEW, and in close partnership with Together New Orleans and Feed the Second Line. Our partnership is a testament to the power of collaboration and meeting future workforce demands. To grow equity in our region, we need workforce partnerships such as the one highlighted today to ensure local residents benefit from current and future economic and environmental revitalization efforts. And now I'm pleased to turn it over to Green Corps alumni, Solar Alternatives Lead Technician Trayvon Stockton. Thank you, Trayvon.
How y'all doing? My name is Trayvon Stockman. I initially started going to Green Corps because it was my only clean option. One thing that I've noticed about Green Corps with their partnership with Solar Alternatives is basically the bridge for younger people to show employers their work ethic before they're judged just by a background check. My favorite thing about working with Solar Alternatives is that we work on every solar system. A lot of companies only use like in-phase or whatever the select system is. I initially never thought that Green Corps would have this type of effect on my life, but career-wise and personally, Green Corps has always been there for me, pushing me to the top.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jaden Davis, current enrollee at LA Green Corps. For me, I was interested in LA Green Corps because I was at this point in my life, I was kind of lost, going down like a dark path. I didn't really have no knowledge of what I wanted to do or which route I was going to take. When I came across Green Corps, I saw opportunity. I saw opportunity to not only grow on a professional level, but also personally to use certain tools and things that I'm going to need in pursuing certain fields in construction. And since I've been here, I just feel like I've grown so much tremendously, and it has made my career pathway more clearer. In a sense, I can just go on and on, but I can just talk about how the staff is just so genuine and patient, and it just works so hard with each and every single last enrollee to ensure that we are set up for proper success and give us the tools that we are going to need to proceed in life and just on a general basis. My biggest takeaway so far from this program, I say that I've learned that I'm speaking in a different way, I'm walking different, and I'm talking different. I was told by one of the staff members when I came here, you're not going to leave the same person that you came, and I just want to say the least so far, they're right, because I feel that change not only in me, but I also see it in my fellow classmates as well. My biggest goal for Green Corps, I believe that this is an organization that will soon be all over Louisiana, and I believe that we have a young line of entrepreneurs that are ready to take the construction field by force. So to boil it all down, I would just say I love Green Corps. I wouldn't trade it for anything, and I'm just excited to see what it has for the future.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you, Jaden. Thank you, Trayvon. Thank you, Green Corps. We'd now like to hear from Corky Cortez of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Good morning. So glad to be here this morning. The IBEW has played a great role in the city of New Orleans over the last 124 years. We've been training electricians in this area for quite a long time. What I'd like to talk about today is apprenticeship. The apprenticeship program that we have to offer with the IBEW is very special. Once you enroll in our program, you go to school 2 nights a week, 3 hours a night. In the daytime, we put you to work with an electrical contractor. You gain your experience to become a journeyman electrician. We've been working with Together New Orleans, along with Green Corps, trying to mentor Green Corps students to be a part of our apprenticeship program. I'm glad to be here. We will play a vital role in green energy over the course of the next 30 years. It's a huge industry that's just coming out to light, and we only see the great things that are going to happen in the future right here today. Thank you.
As we see, there's a lot of partnerships required to make this type of future possible. And no small player in this has been our city officials, especially our city council. And we are so grateful that they're here today. We'd like to now hear from the council president, Helena Moreno.
Thank you and good morning. Overall, just what an incredibly exciting day, because we're talking about creating more jobs right here in the city of New Orleans, more green jobs. But at the same time, we're talking about these particular jobs creating a more resilient New Orleans as well by building community lighthouses. Just briefly, let me start with talking about community lighthouses. It's really hot today. It's hot. It's super humid, right? We're all feeling it. Well, when the power goes out after a storm and people are stuck in these conditions without being able to get out of this heat, it is a deadly situation, particularly when it comes to our vulnerable populations. These community lighthouses will save lives in the city of New Orleans. And that is why the city council invested early on in this particular project, putting in $2 million toward the total $11 million raised to build these community lighthouses throughout our city, because they will save lives and they are essential. And yes, the city council is working with Entergy New Orleans to create a stronger power grid. But at the end of the day, we know that there will be emergencies, and there will be times during these emergencies when power will be lost. And we need to make sure that we can take care of people in every single neighborhood of this city. At the same time, though, let's talk about jobs and diversification of our economy. This is so key and critical, and something that the City Council has absolutely been working on and advocating for. And what Green Corps is doing, along with IBEW, is critical. New green jobs in the city of New Orleans, making sure that everyone who wants an opportunity to succeed and everyone who wants an opportunity to get into the green industry has that opportunity right here in our city. So thank you to Together New Orleans. I'll never forget, just during my first term, when we had a little Zoom meeting to talk about the potential for a community lighthouse and what it could be. Remember that, Shawn? It was a little Zoom meeting. Could we do this? It was just an idea. And now look at where we are today. When we all come together like this, community leaders, faith-based leaders, all different types of industry and government, anything is possible. Amen. And now I'll turn it over to Councilmember Thomas and then Councilmember Green.
First, I want to thank God for this gathering. And for the young man who spoke earlier, he said his life was leading him to darkness. No, you followed the light to 6901 Sheffman to a highway. And that led you to God's light. New Orleans East, 27 subdivisions of the highest African American earners of any municipal district. New Orleans East. would be in the top 10 largest cities in the state if it stood alone. New Orleans East, one of the largest standing airports, the Lakefront Airport. New Orleans East, almost 80,000 people. New Orleans East, 7,000 acres of developable business park. New Orleans East, 9.5 miles of waterway. 5 of those 9 miles, Sage, are beachfront. New Orleans East Bayou survives. 340 bird species, right? Some of the most pristine land in America. But also the realities of New Orleans East. Too often it was on the other side of the high rise. Too often it was that demographic that lived out there. Well, when you talk about the light, right? Marco Polo followed the light of the Eastern constellations, didn't he? Eric the Red followed the North Star. Well, now with Together New Orleans and Green Corps, we can follow the light right here to 6901 Chef Highway. And lastly, all of those things about demographics and economics are profound, but this location has spiritual meaning. So I want to really share some stuff that I know Sister Costa would have shared if she had more time. The spiritual meaning of a light is the absence of darkness and a clearer understanding. In Mark, John 8 and 12, God said, I am the light. And so when you talk about spiritual significance, right, you have to begin to look at this community spiritually if you're going to value it socially. And when you value it spiritually, there's no mistake but to value the people and the places socially. So what did Jesus say about the light? He said that follow with me, those who follow with me shall not walk in the darkness, but he shall have the light. In the Gospel of Mark it says, is a lamp brought to be placed under a bushel basket or a bed and not a lampstand? For there is nothing hidden except to be made visible. Nothing is secret except that it come to light. 6901 Chef Highway.
Thank you, Reverend Thomas. Pastor, no, I'm so pleased to be here with my council president and councilman who is the leader of this district. I want to thank the Sisters of the Holy Family, 180 years plus, for being committed to our community. Let's give them a round of applause. And members of the Sisters of the Holy Family were just in the city council on yesterday expressing their concern for some of our fellow citizens who need to be helped to be in a different place in their lives. I want to thank, of course, Together New Orleans for their commitment to this project in general and to spreading this throughout the city of New Orleans, and also to Louisiana Green Corps. I have an opportunity to attend the graduations on a regular basis, Mr. Mattingly, and to those graduates and those students, thank you for what you're doing now and for what you're going to be doing in our city. It's greatly appreciated. I'm so pleased to be here today because it's another example of yet our city moving in the right direction. Certainly, you wish that this had happened a long time ago, but with the technology that's available to us now, and maybe a different commitment after having experienced such as Hurricane Ida and Hurricane Katrina, this is just the right time for it to have happened. So I'm just pleased to be here today because it's another example of us as a city coming together to make sure that we can provide for those who are in the most need during especially what we know is inevitable time periods when we will have storms and when the utilities will go out. But I'd like to give an example, and just only one more second, just an example of why this is important to me. After Hurricane Ida, I participated in a group that volunteered to go and pick up food from McDonald 35 to bring to a senior citizen center off St. Bernard Avenue. Each day we would pick up the same number of lunches and breakfasts. But the utilities were out at the facility, and unfortunately some members of the family had been left behind and they didn't have contact with relatives, and of course we didn't have utilities to bring them in-house. So each day we'd pick up like 33 lunches, 33 breakfasts. One day we were told that we needed one less because someone had passed away because of the heat. This is why this is important today. As Council President mentioned, this is life-saving, It's a very important thing that we're doing here today because it is going to save lives. And my experience, as sad as it was, reminds me of how important what we're doing is today and why we should be so appreciative to the Sisters of the Holy Family, Together New Orleans, and also Louisiana Green Corps. So I'm pleased to be here today in this position to be able to celebrate this life-saving investment that we're making in our community. Thank you for all involved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Moreno, and thank you, Councilman. We now would like to hear from Ms. Sophie Winston from the City of New Orleans.
Hello, thank you for having me. The groundbreaking of Together New Orleans' 13th Community Lighthouse in Southeast Louisiana represents a beacon of hope for the New Orleans East community. The Community Lighthouse Initiative is a groundbreaking feat in and of itself, setting an accelerated pace for the development of resilience hubs and demonstrating to the rest of the country how to successfully engage communities to ensure sustainable energy resilience for those that need it most. In 2022, the City of New Orleans set an ambitious goal to achieve net zero emissions within the City of New Orleans by 2050. In order to achieve this goal, buildings of all shapes and sizes will have to drastically reduce our reliance on the fossil fuels used to power and sustain our buildings, large and small. We know that New Orleans has unique needs when it comes to powering our buildings and ensuring reliability in times of crisis. This is why investing in renewable energy resources plays a critical role in ensuring our residents have access to power when the grid fails. It is critical that we plan for both short-term and long-term impacts of climate change. We also know that it takes all of us together to work towards a more resilient and sustainable New Orleans. By partnering with Together New Orleans, utilizing a variety of federal and city funds, such as the American Rescue Plan dollars, Wisner funds, as well as Department of Energy grants that Together New Orleans has won, we are paving the way nationally for emissions reductions and increasing energy resilience when times of crisis emerge. We are thrilled to see the Sisters of the Holy Family, who have been so sweet and so kind, and also vocal advocates of a just energy transition, get solar and battery off their own. Thank you. And we look forward to the groundbreaking of many more community lighthouses across New Orleans in our partnership with Together New Orleans. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Winston. Finally, we'd like to hear from Jeff Canton, the president of Solar Alternatives.
Thank you, Pastor, and thank you especially to the sisters and to Together New Orleans for bringing this kind of project together. Solar Alternatives has been a key participant in Louisiana and New Orleans in developing an industry of solar and energy storage. Being from New Orleans, having lived through Hurricane Katrina, having lived through Hurricane Ida, personally I know exactly what it means to not have power for long periods of time. Our firm was born out of the struggles of Hurricane Katrina. We actually had several hundred solar battery systems in place for Hurricane Ida, and we know what they can do as the most reliable power source. The Together New Orleans program originally conceptualized this after seeing some of what came through Hurricane Ida and what worked. We're proud to have been helping them since the inception to bring that idea into reality, to work with partners like Green Corps and the IBEW to turn that into a workforce program that benefits not only the community of residents, but also the community of workers and people that want to grow into this industry and diversify both our economy and our workforce. So very much appreciative of all the participants. As Pastor Anglim said, it takes a huge group to bring all this program together, including the support from the city and other organizations. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. As we close out, we just maybe want to call something to mind. Many of us have lived through power outages and storms, and something happened with Hurricane Ida. Something struck the psyche all around us. And in Together New Orleans, it led us to a couple questions. Number one, are we going to keep doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results? And then the second question, whose job is it to see that we have an equitable, joyful, economically and ecologically viable city? Well, if you look around here, we decided it's all of our jobs. It's not just city council's job. It's not just Solar Alternatives' job. It is the church's job, the mosque job, the synagogue job. It is all of our jobs. And when we share in the collective burden of our problems, we can share in the collective hope of the future. And that's what you're seeing today, right now. Thank you for being here, and we'll receive any questions that you may have at this time. Yes.
When will the project be completed, and exactly how many jobs is it bringing in?
When will the jobs be completed? Well, what I would say is people can see this is not just a good idea, it's a good reality. Because now we have 15 of them, Todd, 13 in the city of New Orleans. So we've already been asked to expand outside of New Orleans. Our big vision is that a person within a half a mile of their home could get to a community lighthouse. That sounds monumental, doesn't it? It sounded very monumental when someone said to me, what if we put solar panels on the roof of your church and some Tesla batteries? I said, oh, that's a great idea. Here we are today. These monumental tasks are very possible when we come together. When will they be completed? I don't think we have an answer for that, but I'll turn it to Jeff. You could ask Jeff after our gathering today.
And exactly how many jobs does this bring in, this project?
Golly, that is a really good question. What I can promise you this is the more community lighthouses there are, the more jobs there will be.
Somebody else has a better answer.
Address the importance is, real lived experience is important. As someone who was rescued from the top of their house during Hurricane Betsy, who didn't have a home to go to, we had to go to a community shelter, which was a municipal auditorium at that time. That you had places and spaces throughout this community, people would not have been dispersed so far from where they live, from their property. And it was a level of difficulty to go back once the water went down during Hurricane Betsy, to go back to check on your property, to fix your property, to protect your property. So the importance of this is for young men and women like me and families like ours, maybe we'll have some light somewhere close to our community that will help us to begin to restore our community. That's how important it is.
Thank you for gathering. The people that have spoken will be available. I'm sorry.
Right here. Oh, right here. Y'all need me?
Okay.
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question? It might also be for the Green Corps
Yes.
leader. But my understanding is with all of this renewable energy development, there aren't enough people in these jobs to get projects off the ground. Can you maybe talk about how the workforce development will help with that?
That's exactly what we see. In terms of, there's two needs in our city. Employers are needing employees in a workforce, and then residents are needing the jobs and the high wage opportunities. And what Green Corps is designed to accomplish is combining those two. So where that circle meets, essentially working closely with employer partners such as Solar Alternatives, working with our students to ensure that they have a bridge, an access point, or on-ramp to the opportunities that are being unfilled and having a difficult time finding workers for. Because there's needs on both sides, on our resident side as well as our employer side. And I'll pass it to Jeff too to help answer that.
Thank you. And exactly as Ryan said, there's a lack of workforce development in the area. Green Corps is trying to fill that gap. Companies such as ours are always struggling to find workers. And it's not just one kind of worker, right? It takes several different skills, and even all the way from accounting to sales, everything to really make a business work. So we're looking for support and partnerships like theirs along the way. Just to address the question real quick of how many people, there's about 12 to 15 people working on this job. Some from Green Corps, some from the IBEW, and some from Solar Alternatives that are out braving the heat today, so many thanks to them. And it'll take about another 30 days for this project to reach completion, and then just wait a final connection from the utility.
Thank you very much. We'll be available for questions. Thank you all for gathering. Oh, and
I'm not on the program, but all of us were dreading the sun. What happened to it? And we had a little breeze. Is there a God? Yes, there is.
let everybody say amen.
Hola. Hola, both of you.